Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of Open Books with Alana and Erin, two female leaders modernizing the accounting space. Today is a topic that we've mentioned many, many times in our past episodes. We have finally gotten to here, and it is going to be all about mentors.
Yeah.
The mentors we've had throughout the years, what aspects of our careers and lives they've changed, and how they've affected, I think, our individual careers.
Yep.
We happen to have at least one
Yeah.
of the same mentor, and
Yeah.
we've talked about him in the past, and
Yep.
he really started us both on our servant leadership journey.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the next coming episodes, we'll actually have him on to talk a little bit about how he decided that that's something that he wanted to do
Yeah.
and kind of built that mentorship for us.
Yeah.
But just to get started, what do you think two of the most important mentors that a new person coming into servant leadership or leadership in general should have?
Yeah. When we drafted this question, I loved it. But also it was so hard to boil down thinking about all of the mentors that I have so far in my journey to boil it down to two.
Right.
So incredibly difficult. So I would say for sure what we're going to say is by no means all encompassing.
Right.
But between us, just four of, some really strong mentors probably that we've found. So the two that come to mind for me first is a mentor who's just so fully invested in you as an entire person. While mine, I'm lucky to have them in my professional life, but they are 100% invested in me outside of work. They know about me outside of work. They know about my family and who I am. But yeah, they just fully support me in all areas of my life, where I'm at in my life, what I hope my life brings me, what I hope my career brings me. They are such a champion for me. But with that, they tell me where I need to grow,
Right.
because they want me to just truly be the best version of myself. And so they constructively give me the feedback to get there, right? And that is so important to find in a mentor. But also they celebrate my wins with me, which is just so fantastic. And I just have some of the most constructive, effective conversations with them. It just totally fills my cup. So I would say, yeah, find a mentor that just lifts you up 100%.
Yeah.
All encompassing of your life is a really important mentor to find. And then I would say the second mentor that I have that came to mind for me is someone who is going to shoot it to you straight.
Yep.
And I say that with, they're still kind about it, right? And, they're not mean in any way, but that you can go to this person and no matter the situation, no matter the time, no matter all the other factors at play, they will tell you the honest truth. And I think that is really important to have. They will not sugarcoat it.
They aren't afraid to call you on your bullshit.
They are not.
Right?
No.
It's not just the being honest.
Yep.
It's the, I know what you're doing.
Yes. Yep.
And that's not the right way
Totally.
to go about it. That's,
Yep.
You're on your bullshit there.
Yes. Yeah. And they don't care about your ego. They will tell you exactly how they see it.
Yep.
And that is so important to find. It makes you better.
I
100%
Yep, agree.
Totally. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Who are your two that came to mind for you?
So very similar to yours. And I would agree exactly with everything you said.
Yeah.
Those are all super important to have. For me, it's really important to have a mentor, and these two things could be included in one mentor. Possibly, it's just a lot. But to have one who aligns with you professionally. So servant leadership, I want a servant leader mentor.
Yeah.
Because I know our values and everything are thoroughly aligned in the professional setting. And then there's also the personal side. I also want a mentor who is along the same values and everything on the more personal side of things, socially, politically, usually.
Yeah.
Because those are very self-identifying, I guess, and having someone who is aligned with you can really help open up that trust.
Sure.
So for me, it's having the fully professionally aligned and then a person who is personally aligned as well.
Yep.
Just really helps build the openness and trust so that when they come in and call me on my bullshit, my ego is like, all right, we know it. I'm not immediately getting defensive because I know we're aligned on the same things.
Yep.
So that's a really strong foundation that I want to have with my mentors.
Yep. Yeah. And I would just say, to your point, a mentor should call you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
If your mentor isn't, ask them why.
Yeah.
They should be. And that's something you should expect.
Definitely.
Because it makes you better. Truly.
We need someone to do that.
Yeah. And also it gives you a time to practice how to receive that feedback in a trusting relationship, which is also part of being a leader.
Yeah.
You're going to have feedback, and that gives you a time to get feedback constructively, because there will be times that you won't get it constructively.
Right.
So it's kind of twofold.
It's that
way.
safe space
Yes,
where
we
you
love that.
learn to handle that
Yes.
feedback in a safe space so that when you go out into the real world, you don't handle it quite as badly.
Yeah. What advice would you give to young women? Is there anything they should look for in a mentor specifically?
Yeah, there's two things that I would look for. Definitely another female in either upper management or a similar role at another firm.
Yeah.
I think some of our relationship aspects has some mentorship both ways.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I have that with like our COO, Sarah. She's another woman. We deal with a lot of the same gender issues in the industry. So having someone that can commiserate, but also sometimes have a little bit of ranting time, but then also be constructive about it as well. Super important. And then I would also encourage, if you can find, we are lucky, I think, in our shared mentor, in that he was a man that was very interested in promoting a woman's voice.
Yeah.
And doing, like, actually walking the walk of promoting women and females in the workplace. And that helps because then you have someone on your side and someone who, isn't afraid to go to bat for you, but will also call you on your bullshit.
Oh, completely.
So, for me, those two, if you can find them also in your professional and personal mentor, that's great.
Yeah, that's huge.
What would you say to other women entering servant leadership for their mentors?
Yeah, I would agree with you in finding a woman and then finding that champion if you can. I would say then as they continue on their career, pay that back and be the mentor for others. I've said it in other episodes. I think we have a responsibility as women leaders in public accounting, but then in other industries, I just consider that a responsibility for us to pay that back. And so this is me just asking for women leaders to pay that back to the new generation coming in.
Yeah.
Yep.
It lifts everyone up.
Yes, it does.
As opposed to just us.
Yes.
And very important to lift up the future generations.
Yep.
Break that glass ceiling.
Yep.
It's kind of broken now. We can break it more though.
Yep. Keep opening the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you do have a person who has shown some interest in being a mentor to someone else, what do you do to encourage that?
As far as like my team member being a mentor to someone else, Well, I think those relationships form more organically, I would say. Um, I guess I don't necessarily see mentorships more formally, I would say. They are more organic forming.
Right.
And so it's more identifying someone who has the attributes, right, that they're looking for, and then just forming that bond. What about you? What would you say?
I find that people who are interested typically in leadership have like the beginnings of wanting to
Yep.
be a mentor to someone else,
Yep.
but they need a little bit of confidence boosting
Sure.
first. And totally agree. It's mostly an organic growth of that mentorship. I think that's how we've kind of become mentors to other people.
Yeah.
Is very organic. It happens whether you kind of expect it or not.
Yeah.
But for like the new leaders that we're promoting, helping them build up that confidence of you don't just have to be a technical leader,
Sure.
but like you know your stuff. You know, it's
Yeah.
okay. Like be a little open.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I would share with the people that are wanting to be mentors or feel that capacity to want to do that. Because I don't think everyone wants to
Yep.
mentor someone else. They should still have mentors themselves,
Totally.
but may not feel that calling.
Yeah. And I think to that point, maybe somebody wanting to be a mentor, I think also setting some expectations that just because they want to mentor people doesn't mean that everyone wants to be mentored by them, which I think
yes.
is just important for them to understand. And that's okay. Not everyone wants to be mentored by you and I.
Yep.
That's okay. It's natural, right? We all have different attributes. And so I think just impressing on them, we all pick our own mentors. Everyone is going to pick them or not pick them as
Yeah.
their mentor. So I think setting those expectations and just guiding them and coaching them through that relationship is also important
Yeah.
with your team members.
Definitely.
Yep.
When kind of talking about new people looking for mentors,
Yeah.
how would you encourage someone to find mentors in general?
Yeah, I think you can really find one many different ways, but I think a lot of it starts with just getting out there, which I think is hard in some cases. But I think, getting out in your community, putting yourself into different situations so that you're meeting a lot of different people. Because I think if you're, just sticking with the same people, you're not going to see what else is out there. So join a board. That's where you meet some really incredible people. That's where you see some really incredible leadership styles and really, just get some really great exposure to people you never, may never meet in another situation. So I really encourage board work, get involved in a different nonprofit, go volunteer, community work. Even just at work, start identifying those people in leadership who, you start to identify a little bit with and just start to, strike a relationship with them and get to know them on a more personal level is what I would say. What about you?
Definitely getting involved in the community is a
Yeah.
huge opportunity and outside of the public accounting realm.
Totally. Yes.
Having said that, it is incredibly hard, for introverts in general, a lot of, I think, accounting people, to put themselves out there. It is not easy and it's not fun, but you will reap the rewards and benefits of that by meeting new people. Also, within the industry, getting involved in events. There's a lot of stuff on social media where there's tax Twitter, CAS Twitter. There's I don't even know how many Facebook groups. But there are a lot of communities out there. And if you put yourself out into that community, you will find someone who is willing to be a mentor to you.
Yeah.
There's enough people in those communities that you'll find one.
Yeah.
And even if it's for a specific thing, join a QuickBooks for Nonprofits Facebook group. You'll find someone in there who's going to be a great professional mentor in the industry, maybe, or somewhat tangentially related. But it's hard to make that first step.
It is. And to that, I think an easy like way to help with that is like if you have a friend at another accounting firm or something, like go with them, you know, or get to know them and their work team, because you might find a mentor there, right? Like kind of start to try to cross populate a little bit because you have somebody you're close with. Meeting other people, I think that can help as well. So
definitely
lean on who you know and then try to meet other people that they know. That just helps broaden your horizons while still having some comfort.
Definitely. That a little bit of safe space there
is huge.
Definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Same thing for conferences. If you're going with your team, there are a ton of meetups at these conferences. And you can find any of the speakers that you want to be mentored by. I know when we spoke, if someone had come up and was like, hey, I'd like to be mentored, I'm like, heck yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk. Let's see where we align. And definitely open. And I suspect people that are speaking at events are most likely open to at least exploring that kind of relationship.
Yep. And if not the speaker, they know someone.
Yes.
They have teams.
Yeah.
They have they have a superstar on their team who's mentoring people, right? They have connections that they can turn you towards as well. So don't be afraid to make that connection, because even if that one connection is not the mentor, they might know someone, right?
Yeah.
So
and the accounting community, while huge, is also very connected.
Oh, totally.
It's so funny. I'll see people in one group and then I'll start engaging with a different group and I'm like, wait a minute.
Hey,
I recognize some of you. And then I make connections from there and I see those ones in the next one. So I would say very well connected, especially people that are on the more progressive accounting side. You will find someone.
The firms, hang in those conferences or in those groups, and then you'll see them in the subsequent groups that you start to attend. You're like, hey, do you know? You're like, well, obviously, because you're in the same firm. So you'll start to see. And I would venture to guess that even if you're not in public accounting, that is probably the same. I know it's same in other industries, like my husband is in, and family members and stuff. I'm sure it's the same in other industries or other areas that other people are involved in as well. So get involved.
Definitely.
Go to those conferences, make connections, get
hard.
to know people.
It's hard.
It is.
But
worth it.
Everyone will be better off for it.
Totally. Yes. Yep, for sure. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself back before you had a mentor, maybe?
Yeah.
What would you have told yourself back in the day?
Yeah. What would I tell myself is way back, like in school and starting my career. I guess thinking back then, like mentors weren't really talked about in school. And if they were, like it wasn't a huge focus. And I wish that they were. That's just like a side note. I really wish it was a focus of like how to find mentors, the importance of them. But I would tell myself how important they are, and to go out and start identifying like the role that they can have. But also tell myself that they supersede, the role a mentor has supersedes like the job that you have, the firm that you're in. Like it just covers so much of your journey, and they follow you. A really good mentor follows you through your career. And so I would just tell myself, build your backpack of mentors, and they'll follow you because they bring so much value to your life. So
Yeah.
what would you tell yourself?
Kind of in that beginning of leadership journey, or just beginning in career progression at all, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's okay. Find a safe buddy to go with, but put yourself out there. And I still have to do this today, as tell myself it's okay. When we're coming up to a conference, I will be totally fine until the day of.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, can't we just cancel this?
Right.
I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in public.
Yeah.
That like sudden introvert. It's just no. Even though I was looking forward to it forever.
Also, which is funny because if anyone's seen Erin at a conference, you would not think that.
It's how I feel. I'm really excited up until then. Day of, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Then once we get there, I'm having a blast.
You are psyched.
I am. But there's that like
I know. I
bit
get it.
of me that's like, and if it's like a social event or something around town, it's so easy to just be like, oh, I've got a headache. I'm not feeling good. I'm not going to go. So I would tell myself, start going to those earlier in my career and looking for those external mentors. Definitely. Because I kind of feel like I missed out a little bit.
Sure, to like build that early on. Totally. Yeah, I get that. What's something that you think so actually I was going to go into our next reoccurring, which is something that we've learned from our team. But we switched it up since we're talking about all of our mentors in this episode. So what's something that you've learned from your mentor?
So this is in the kind of the realm of the servant leadership journey. And he uses a term called the circle of trust. And it became how I function in my own role now. It was like a blinding bright like aha moment for me when he used this term and how we use it, and it was building trust, not one-way trust, but a full encompassing trust between me and the team and him as the leader. And having that trust made it such a safe space. You were okay to fail and learn from those failures. You were okay to grow. And that level of trust was something that I had not experienced in my working career ever. And it is what I hope to emulate with my team, because it holds so much potential for not just one individual's growth, but the growth of the whole team and everyone together. And it sounds kind of kumbaya-ish, but it really can be very, very powerful. So that was mine. How about yours?
So this is a casualty of having the same mentor, is that
I stole the answer
as well. Is that also the circle of trust? Anyways, so I'll move on to the second best that I've learned. But anyways, yes, the circle of trust is an incredibly powerful thing that we have both learned. So the second best thing that I have learned, and I've briefly touched on this in prior episodes, but my mentor recently, in talking about some leadership changes, he posed a question to me and asked me why I wanted to be a leader. And that caught me off guard for a split second, because while I've put thought into that question before, I've never had to answer that question just outright in a conversation. And so then we continued talking, and he impressed on me that I he encouraged me to really dig deep and find a why to that answer, because leadership is hard, and it will test you, it will challenge you in very hard times. It will be, I'm done, man. Like, this is too much type of thing. But knowing why you're in leadership and being able to pull on that and having such a deep and rooted connection to that why will allow you to pull from that in the deepest, darkest moments when you need it. And it'll continue to push through. And for me, that was such a light bulb moment. And it's something I've really put some thought into. It's been a very recent thing for me, but it's something I've really formulated and really started to put down to paper, and really committed it to memory, to be honest. I'm still formulating it, but I've drawn from it from time to time, and it's incredibly powerful because then you do have that personal connection, and it creates like this renewed passion when you're pushed, and challenged, and you're drained and burnt out.
Yeah.
You're able to pull from that again. And that was just a really incredible light bulb moment for me for him to bring up that idea to me.
And I think that's so important for a mentor to do.
Yes.
And what I hope someday I will be able to do as a mentor for someone else is bring those light bulb moments, or ask the hard questions that aren't hard in a bad way, but hard in an affirmation way.
Yeah.
Tony's always so amazing.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to work at the firm, I'd always come out of meetings with him always with something new that I hadn't considered before.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mark of a really great mentor, is someone who's making you think and question the things that we do. And he was always amazing at that. I need to bug him again.
Yeah. But to that, I'm like, where the hell does he get all this? And can I get a subscription to whatever he's subscribed to? Because where does he get some of these questions? Because he's always 3 steps ahead. And so it's I want to be that, but I just need access to this question bank that you have.
Magically.
Is all I need.
Yeah.
So just let me know where that's at.
I don't think he'll share his secrets with us.
He won't at all.
But I do think that is a mark of a successful mentor.
Totally. Yes.
Asking you the tough questions, making you really think about everything, where you want to go in your career, your personal life, what your goals are.
Yep.
How do you want to get there?
And also, if those goals, what I think is so great about a really great mentor is having those conversations and being okay if those goals take you away from what might benefit the mentor. So if your mentor is at your current firm or your current business and you're having that conversation, a really great mentor is going to be okay if the conversation is that your goals in your life is going to take you away from that business. That's a really incredible mentor to have that conversation.
Yeah. And that is a very hard conversation to have. It's one I had when I left the firm.
Yep.
The thing keeping me at the firm was the mentor.
Right.
And that relationship. And when it was time for me to move on, he was incredibly supportive and happy, and knew that hopefully what I was doing was going to end up being the best thing that I could do.
Yep.
And we've continued to keep in contact. I'm not as good as I should be, but I will do better.
Yeah.
But it's having someone that cares for you beyond the job and is willing to let you grow beyond the job is huge. And finding someone like that isn't easy.
It's not.
But once you find them, hold on to them.
Yep. And it's also what you want to bring to your mentorship, right? Is to be able to let your team grow, even if it's outside of the firm.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Open Books. We hope that by bringing forward the lessons we've learned along the way during our time in the accounting industry, that others can learn with us and share in our journey to evolve as leaders in the accounting community. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.